Okay, so this is the flash point. Definition is your it is the flash point of an oil is the lowest temperature at which oil gives vapor that will ignite for a moment. Okay, when a small flame is brought near it. So whenever we are heating or a temperature of a lubricating oil is increased, so vapor will be generated. Now, the lowest temperature that vapor will ignite for a moment when we are bringing a small flame or a source of fire. So that is called the flash point. So this ignition will be very short duration. It may be maybe for 1 second. Just it will be observed and it will be on, and the next second it will be off. So it will be like that. So it should not be continued for longer duration. Just a ignition will appear and it will be off. So that is the lowest temperature at which the vapor of the oil that is igniting for a moment. So that is the basically our flash point. So here we determine the flash point by Abel separators and Pensky-Martin apparatus. Both are used. So two figures are given. You can see the figures. So left hand side is our Pensky-Martin apparatus and right hand side it is Abel's apparatus. So you can see left hand side, this is our oil is directly heated. Okay, it is directly heated with the help of a Bunsen burner. So nowadays in the place of Bunsen burner, an electrical heater is used nowadays. So as we are heating the oil directly, so the vapor will be coming out from this outlet. So for this opening this one, we have a shutter. So this shutter, if you are rotating the shutter, it will be this opening will be it will open and vapor will come out. Whenever it is opening, so a burner will be automatically coming there, and if the flash point is reached, you'll see a that momentarily ignition you will observe at this place. Okay, so the lowest temperature at which we observe this, so that is our flash point. So you have to thermometer is also here, so you have to note down the temperature. So this was Pensky Martin. In Abel's apparatus, it is first, this is our heater. Okay, so this is the heater and this is your water. So this water as it is heated, so the water vapor will be generated. So this water vapor will heat this oil cup indirectly. Okay, so this oil cup, there will be oil will be present, and then the oil will generate vapor. So you can see this, it is, there is the shutter is here. Okay, and the extreme right, you can see the how the shutter works for this Abel separators, that is shown. So this shutter, you have to pull the shutter. So there is a opening will be there. If you release it, it will be going back. So that shutter will be opened, and there will be basically the, if this there will be a burner also will be here. So it will be going closely to the opening, and if burning is observed, so that is the lowest temperature at which this is observed, that is your flash point. So both are used for determination of flash point. Only the most important difference is that in case of Pensky Martin, it is a oil is heated directly. Okay, so this is a type of direct heating of the oil is taking place. And in case of Penske-Martin, it is indirect heating. Indirect heating in the sense, first the water is heated by heater, and that water vapor is generated, that vapor is going upward, and that water vapor is heating the oil cup. Then from the oil cup, whatever oil is present, that oil is generating vapor. So here the indirect heating is taking place in case of Havells. And also you can understand in case of Penske-Martin, we use high flash point oil. In case of Havells apparatus, we use low flash point oil. So that is these are the two difference between these two apparatus. So what is the now importance? Importance is flash point is used to indicate the chance of fire hazards or fire accidents. Okay, in the industry, we can get the help of flash point to indicate whether there is a chance of fire accidents or not. So now thing is how to avoid the fire accident. That can be done by considering this one, that whenever we are choosing a lubricant, good lubricant should have flash point at least above the temperature at which it is to be used. Suppose it is to be used, the temperature will be say 80 degrees Celsius suppose. So the oil you are using, so flash point of the oil that you are going to use, it must be higher, more than 80 degree. Okay, so that is the thing. If say 80 degrees Celsius, suppose if you need to use the lubricant, so the flash point, the oil that you are going to consider or going to use, that oil must be having a flash point more than 80 degree. Okay, then only we can avoid the fire accidents. So this was our flash point. Then we will go to next one, aniline point. Aniline point is the minimum equilibrium solution temperature of a for equal volume of aniline and oil. So equilibrium solution temperature, this one actually coming from the phase equilibrium concept. So here say we are taking equal volume of oil and aniline. So the temperature at which basically they will be making the minimum temperature at which they will be making a single phase. So that is actually in terms of phase equilibrium, that is called as equilibrium solution temperature. So the minimum equilibrium solution temperature for equal volume of aniline and oil, that is called the aniline point. Okay, now remember, lower the aniline point, higher percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon will be present in that oil. Now aromatic hydrocarbon can dissolve natural rubber and certain synthetic rubbers. Okay, so high percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon, or that means the lower aniline point, so that has more chance of degradation when it come in contact with rubber sealing, rubber packing, etc. And lubrication will be hampered. So the aromatic hydrocarbon, percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon and aniline point, these two are opposite. That means if an oil is having a low aniline point, so it will be having a higher percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon, and such oil will be when it comes in contact with rubber sealing or rubber packing. So these rubber materials will be present on the machine, or on the maybe directly connected with the surface under many situations. So these rubber materials will be getting dissolved, and in the high percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon, chance of dissolving will be more, and the oil will be undergoing degradation. So the lubrication is hampered such a condition. So our requirement is that a low percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon or high aniline point is desirable. Okay, so low percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon or high aniline point should be there. So this is used to minimize or prevent the degradation of lubricating oil by rubber sealing, rubber packing, etc. Okay, so this was our fourth property, aniline point.
So, so could you explain this line again? The minimum equilibrium temperature solution
This is
temperature.
actually aniline and oil when we are taking in a test tube or a beaker or any other place. Basically, they are not miscible. Okay, they will not mix at room temperature. Now, if you increase the temperature, then a situation will come when these two will be making a single phase. That means they will be miscible. Okay, so this word miscible will, just after this we'll consider phase equilibrium. So there also we'll understand. So basically they will miscible and they will form a single phase. So the lowest temperature or the minimum temperature at which this thing is happening. Now in terms of phase equilibrium, that condition, two liquid substances when they are becoming miscible, so that temperature is called equilibrium solution temperature. Okay, so the minimum equilibrium solution temperature, this minimum word is there. So that for equal volume of aniline and oil, that is called the, or that is known as aniline point. Okay, so this is a, it is a two liquid material. It may mix. We'll see in the just after few slide, we'll start phase equilibrium. There you will see. So if they are mixing or miscible, so that is one thing. But in many situations, there something, it may happen that they are not miscible at room temperature, but increasing the temperature, they will be making a single phase and they become miscible. So that minimum temperature, that is called your minimum equilibrium solution temperature, and that minimum equilibrium solution temperature is our aniline point. Okay, so this one is a it is a little bit different concept, slightly different thing. So there may be many situations may arise when two liquid substances are mixing properly and making a single phase. Also, there may come such a situation when two liquid substances not at all mix. Okay, even if you are increasing the temperature, they won't mix. And there will be some situation when two liquid substances will be mixing at room temperature, they are not mixing or miscible. If you are increasing the temperature, they will be miscible. So that when increasing the temperature, so basically aniline point, this idea or that concept is being used here. So aniline and oil, aniline, you know, it is aromatic hydrocarbon. So that is used with the oil and equal volume, and then this aniline point is determined.
Sir, but I just like want to ask that how does like the aniline point determine whether the aromatic hydrocarbon like in it is high or low? Like how did this relation even come?
Basically, aromatic hydrocarbon, if aniline and aniline itself is an aromatic hydrocarbon. Okay. Now, if your aromatic hydrocarbon percentage is more, so in that situation, that they will be, it will be like liquid, or as you know, that polar ionic substances very easily dissoluble in polar solvent like water. That similar way, the if your oil is having high percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon, so this single phase formation will be taking place at a lower temperature. It may not be room temperature or may not be 25 degrees Celsius, maybe slightly going slightly high temperature, they may mix because the aromatic quantity is more, so that will be helping to reach the single phase condition easily. That means at a lower temperature. Now when the aromatic quantity is less, aromatic percentage is less in the oil, so aniline is aromatic, but the oil that we are going to use, that is having a relatively less quantity or less percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon or low percentage. So in that situation, maybe we need to have a high temperature, relatively high temperature for getting that or reaching the miscibility. So this is a basically a oil, if it is more percentage, so that will be helping to solubilize or making a single phase at the low temperature. In that case, that's why it is high percentage is having a lower aniline point. On the other hand, if it is a low percentage, which is written in the red font, so low percentage of aromatic hydrocarbon, that situation, your high aniline point, that means need a relatively high temperature to dissolve that aniline and your oil sample. That means to make them or to bring them in the single phase, you need to have a high temperature.
Okay, sir, understood.
Okay.
Sir? Sir?
Okay. Huh?
So why we are using aniline, like what are the special properties that aniline is having that we are not using any other compound?
Aniline is basically used as a aromatic substance, and also it is having a polar group is also there. Okay, so as a one of the representative substance, it is being used for the determination. Benzene is also liquid, we know, but benzene is don't have any substitution itself. So aniline is being used so that your aromatic substance, aromatic whatever oil is present in the oil, that may be completely your have some polar group or may not have some polar group. So to make a balance, basically aniline, which is your C6H5NH2, so that compound is being chosen. As such, there is that one was earlier it was considered, so that is one of the reason that is being continued here.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So steam emulsion number is the next property. So this is here, you remember, in many condition oil and water may come in contact with each other, but they won't dissolve. Okay, water and oil, rather they form basically an emulsion. Okay, so emulsion. Now in case of lubricating oil also, oil and water, the time in which oil and water separate out. Okay, that means this emulsion is broken down into distinct layers. That is called steam emulsion number. So here is the steam emulsion number. This is basically in many situations the steam will be maybe coming in contact with the oil and it will be getting condensed to water liquid. Now that condensed water and your oil, that will be getting or producing emulsion. Now the thing is that emulsion should be quickly separated or it should be quickly broken down into distinct layers. Okay, so quickly the oil separates out from the emulsion, so it will be having low steam emulsion number or low ACN value, and that oil will be the better for lubricating purpose it is used. Now if it is taking that emulsion is continued for longer duration, so in that case the emulsion may catch or some other unwanted substances may get dissolved in that emulsion and it may cause some side reaction on the surfaces. So side reaction means basically, very simple way, those are the corrosion will occur on the surfaces. So that's why it should be broken down or it should be, say, quickly separating out, so that if it is remaining in the emulsion form, so that may increase the chance of corrosion more. Okay, so here these also you will do in the laboratory, steam emulsion number. So this is basically this value, steam emulsion number is used to, it is done to avoid the corrosion and to ensure proper lubrication. So our required purpose is, or the suitability purpose is, the quickly or the steam emulsion number value should be low. Okay, so lower the steam emulsion number ACN value, that will be the suitability criteria is this one. So based on this, our oil is chosen. Now these are the 5 properties. So 4 properties you will do experiments in the laboratory. You will be shown, demonstration will be given, excluding this saponification number. All the 4 properties you will be having demonstration, and those will be helping you to understand how these experiments are carried out. Okay, so that thing will be told in your practical classes. So now we'll see some information regarding grease. So grease is it is obtained by combining lubricating oil and thickening agent or thickener. So lubricating oil is your major component or principal component, and it may be petroleum oil, which is naturally available, or it may be some hydrocarbon which is synthesized in laboratory. So this was the major or principal component. On the other hand, the thickeners or thickening agents, so this is the minor component. This may be 2 types. So it is soap based thickeners that is your soap of lithium, sodium, calcium, barium, or it may be non-soap based thickeners like carbon black, silica gel, polyurea, graphite, etc. Now here this non-soap based thickener, this one is very important. Why? Now whenever we are considering any grease, so grease is a semi-solid lubricant, but remember each grease will be having a temperature above which it is converted into liquid state. Okay, it is semi-solid, but there will be a temperature for that particular grease above which it is changed to, or it is converted to liquid state. So once it is converted to liquid state, so its lubrication may not be that much effective. So to maintain the grease in the semi-solid form, basically we are using these non-soap based thickeners. So these will be improving the heat resistance property of the grease, and these substances will help to remain, or will be helping to maintain the semi-solid nature of the grease even at high temperature. And as a result, such grease can be used for high temperature applications. So in the next slide, very next slide, we'll see one example how this non-soap based thickener graphite is working. That we will see in the next slide. So this is the non-soap based thickener. That's why they are very crucial for some requirements. Okay. Now the preparation procedure, it is prepared by two steps. So first step is saponification of fat with a suitable alkali. So whatever alkali is used, so depending on that, you will get the soap of that alkali. Okay, so you'll get the corresponding soap. Now in the second step, hot lubricating oil is added to the soap formed in step 1 with constant mixing. So that produces semi-solid lubricant grease. Now here, this whatever alkali was used, depending on that, you will get the corresponding soap, and correspondingly you will get a different grease. Say if you are using sodium hydroxide, see it will be giving sodium soap, and the grease that is used from sodium soap, that is the sodium based grease. So that property, its property will be different than the grease which was prepared using calcium soap. Okay, so its property and applications will be different. So depending on the alkali, whichever alkali was used, so soap will be different, and the property and application of grease also will be different. So this sodium, calcium, barium, so this type of alkali may be used, but thing is, as we change the alkali, the soap will be different, and your corresponding grease also, grease properties will be different. Okay, now this was the synthesis or preparation, general preparation of grease. So next we'll see solid lubricant, graphite. So graphite structure, as we know, is a carbon hexagons are basically fused. Fused carbon hexagons are generating a layer. Okay, so this is a type of, say, layer structure. So there is one below that layer, there is another layer. So this is a layer structure, and among this layer there is a weak van der Waals force among the carbon atoms are working or existing. So van der Waals force
Sir,
is
sir, in the semi-solid example of greases, graphite was also there. In solid also it is also there, sir.
no,
Does
I'll
it come
tell
under
you.
port?
Just let me come. I'm telling why it is coming here. Just wait
Okay,
for
sir.
a few minutes. Okay. So graphite is the solid lubricant. Now graphite is layer between these two layers. There is a very weak force of attraction is working. That is the van der Waals force. So if you can remember, covalent and ionic bonds, these are relatively much stronger force. Then from these two, hydrogen bonding is relatively weaker, and van der Waals force is even weaker than hydrogen bonding. Okay, so this is a relatively weaker force, or weak force is working between two layers. So that's why one layer can easily slip on the other layer. Okay, now someone can use the graphite as powder, and or it can be used as suspension in oil or suspension in water. This is insoluble in oil or insoluble in water, but if we are adding taking in a test tube, if we are taking some oil or some water and adding the graphite powder and then shaking that vigorously, that will be giving the suspension. So suspension also some situation may be used. Now coming to the application, so when graphite is mixed with grease, so graphite is a solid lubricant. When it is mixed with grease, so that produces graphite grease. Its name is graphite grease. So graphite grease will be, it is a, graphite was the, in this case, graphite was the, it was the non-soap based thickener, and graphite grease will be giving a or improving the heat resistance property of the grease, and as a result graphite grease can be used for high temperature applications. Okay, so this is a situation. This is graphite, solid graphite. Graphite is always solid, obviously. So graphite is mixed with the semi-solid lubricant grease that produces graphite grease, and that graphite grease will be having many applications for rather many several high temperature applications it can be used. So semi-solid nature of the grease, in some situations it was very important to use the semi-solid lubricant. Okay, so liquid lubricant may be creating some disturbance or creating some problem. So semi-solid lubricant was the most suitable for some purposes. So such situation, say for the high temperature condition, this graphite grease will be maintaining the semi-solid nature of the grease, and this graphite grease particularly used for high temperature applications. Okay, so this is the usefulness of graphite. So to prepare, it is used to make or to prepare graphite grease, and graphite grease can be having the applications of for high temperature surfaces. So this was one application. Otherwise, it can be used for air compressors, foodstuff industry, railway track joint can be used. So this is our lubricant chapter that we have considered. This is completed. So numericals are, I think I have already uploaded this lubricant chapter completely. PDF file has been uploaded in your corresponding group. You can see the group and see those slides. Okay. So we'll move to the phase equilibrium. So slide is visible.
Yes, sir.
So this is the definition. Phase of a substance is a form of matter that is uniform throughout in chemical composition and physical state. So this is the definition that we are considering. It is uniform throughout in chemical composition and physical state. So this definition, this is a little bit, it is not easy to understand. So with the help of few examples, we'll try to understand this, how this definition is being useful or it is being applied for the particular examples. So first example we can consider, we are taking two completely miscible liquids. So this, let's go to the whiteboard. Whiteboard is visible.
Yes, sir.
So two miscible liquids we are going to consider. Say we can take example like this, water and ethanol you can consider. Or someone can consider water and methanol. Or someone can consider water and acetone. Okay, so three examples are given here. So let us take this water and ethanol, this mixture. So remember, if you are say considering a test tube, if you are taking a test tube and taking this water and ethanol in any proportion. So you can take 1 ml water and 99 ml ethanol, or you may take 99 ml water and 1 ml ethanol. So in any proportion, basically they will be mixing thoroughly. That means if say 1 ml water and 99 ml ethanol in this ratio, rather, if you are taking in a test tube and if you are shaking it vigorously, so you'll see that is they are miscible with each other. They will be mixing with each other completely. Okay. On the other hand, if someone is taking the 99 ml water and mixing 1 ml ethanol, so any of this in between, these two are two extreme ratios. So in the middle, so any other ratios also, they will be water, ethanol, they are miscible. Miscible means you are taking the any other
Sir,
ratio and
sir.
shaking in the test tube, so you'll get a uniform liquid inside the test tube. Okay. Now this one is
Sir,
now. Tell me.
sir, you're sharing anything, sir?
Huh? Yeah.
Are you sharing? Are you sharing anything, sir? I cannot see if you're sharing, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is that? I cannot hear. Voice is breaking.
Sir, I'm
Sir,
saying
your
that
screen not visible.
you are not sharing anything, sir.
Anyone can tell what he is telling.
Sir, your PPT not visible, sir.
What is visible?
Sir, your name, your icon.
Only your name.
Okay. I think you want to know how do you know that it is a uniform phase. So for that one, you have to wait for some time. Two miscible liquids we are considering.
Sir, your screen is not visible. आपकी screen नहीं दिख रहा है, sir.
What is not visible? Slide is not visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Visible, sir.
Now it is visible, whiteboard.
No, sir.
No, sir, it is not visible.
No other.
Not yet, sir.
Is it visible?
No, sir, screen is not.
Sir, visual, network is getting disturbed, na?
Sir, it is visual.
Huh?
It is visual, sir.
किसी को दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है क्या ये बोर्ड? No one can.
दिखाई दे रहा है, सर. सर, दिखाई दे रहा है, सर.
लिखा है, एग्जांपल ऑफ फेज लिखा है. नहीं.
नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है क्या?
नो सर.
दे रहा है, सर.
No, sir.
दे रहा है. सर कह दीजिए रिज्वाइन करें.
सर आप एक बार रीज्वाइन कीजिए.
हाँ?
एक बार सर मीटिंग लीव करके फिर से ज्वाइन हो जाइए.
Now it is visible. Whiteboard is visible on your side.
No, sir.
No, sir,
Yes,
not
sir.
till now, sir.
Huh?
No, sir,
No, sir.
still it is not visible.
It is visible to someone. Try leaving and joining.
Now it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
visible.
Yes, sir.
Visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So two miscible liquids we are considering. water ethanol someone can take, or someone can take water methanol or water acetone. So for our purpose, let us consider water ethanol. Now here in a test tube, we are taking some volume of water and ethanol. So you can take in any ratio 1 ml of water with 99 ml of ethanol, or 99 ml water with 1 ml ethanol. In any ratio, if you are taking, these two are extreme ratios. So in between, if you are taking any ratios, so they will be water and ethanol. And if you are shaking the test tube, so you'll see that it is making a single, it is mixing completely. Okay. So now question is mixing completely and not mixing completely. How would we know? So for that, you have to wait for slightly more time. We are considering two miscible liquid. So we'll also consider two immiscible liquid. So in that situation, you will understand how this becomes different. Okay. Only thing is, if you remember, if you are mixing these two, so they will be mixing together thoroughly or completely and make a colorless solution inside the test tube or beaker, whatever you are taking. Now, thing is, you can take sample from any part of this solution with the help of dropper. So dropper, I think it was discussed in your practical class. It is a glass apparatus which can be used to take small volume of solutions or indicators. So generally you adding indicator, droppers are used, but also someone can use dropper for taking, say, 1 drop or 2 drops of solution or solvent. So with the help of dropper, you can take solution from different parts of the test tube, from top part, middle part, lower part, and we can take help of a sophisticated instruments which can tell us what is the composition of those samples. So that can be done with the help of some sophisticated instrument, that is this instrument that are available there. But thing is, without using an instrument also, someone can do the or find the whether it is a composition, it is uniform in this whole solution or it is not uniform. That someone can find out with the help of a physical property. So that is, we are considering the solubility property. We will take help of solubility property and we will see that as per that whether the definition is working here. It is uniform throughout in chemical composition and physical state, whether that is working in this particular solution or it is not working. Now before doing that, we'll do some, remember few general idea. So sodium chloride, potassium chloride, this type of ionic substances, you can take other ionic substances. These are highly soluble in polar solvent water. Okay. On the other hand, if someone is considering a substance iodine, iodine is a solid substance at 25 degree Celsius. So iodine is soluble in your organic solvents like ethanol, methanol, dichloromethane, chloroform, benzene, hexane, and many other organic solvents. So when iodine is becoming soluble in these organic solvents, remember it produces a red color solution, red or reddish brown or deep red color solution it will generate. So this information is well known. If you can search any standard site or standard literature, you can get all this. So now we'll use this solubility property, will take help of this solubility property to understand how many phase or phases are existing in this particular system. So what is the 11th? So we'll stop here. We'll stop here and we'll continue next class. D lecture. Okay, so we are going to stop here. It is 11 a.m. So we'll continue this from this particular example. We'll continue from next class. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And
Sir.